Hello and welcome to the Winner Circle. I'm your host, Dr. Sean. We haven't done this in a little while, but new year, new things, new start. Let's get it kicked off. We like to talk about things that matter in our society, and we like to talk with people and have people on the show who care a lot about what's going on, but who also know things that we don't know. Today, we're joined by my dad and Hall of Fame college football coach, Rudy Hubbard. We're going to jump right on in here. Daddy, Coach Hubbard, welcome to the show. Great to see you this morning.
Oh man, it's awesome. I'm glad to be here as well.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I wanted to get you on here. We talk football all the time and we talk about life and everything. And we've been doing it for all my life. And it's been a treat, I thought, for once. And, we might expose some other people to some of the fun we have when we get together.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I wanted to talk to you about this past season, especially FAMU 2023 edition, a place that you and I call home, near and dear. Really had a great season. Talking about just a nice campaign, win after win after win. Just so happens I went to the only one that we didn't win down here with USF. But aside from that, everything was wonderful. And then, of course, capping it off with Celebration Bowl with that lovely victory over Howard. But what are your thoughts? Were you following? I know you went to a lot more games than I did, and checked it out.
Yeah, I was able to go to all the games except two. That one that you went to, I didn't attend, and well, I'm sorry, all the games but three, and then uh, I missed the first game. But the point is, I think Coach Simmons and his staff did an excellent job. They have built a program, and I like to say program because many people they just get so concerned about winning or losing. That's all they see, and I see much deeper than that. I think what Coach Simmons and his staff has done is they've built a winning program. And when I say Coach Simmons, obviously they're out there doing the nuts and bolts of putting the football team together and putting them on the field and exposing Florida A&M football. But I think the staff, the athletic director and her staff and the president, everybody, I've been able to be up in the press box with them all season. And I think they've done a great job of supporting that football team and Coach Simmons. And so it's been a collective group, and I'm really pleased with what I see. That program, I see the way he's built it is in a position now to dominate. They're in a great league with SWAC, and then they played MEAC, and they won that game, won the Celebration Bowl. But I think they're in a position to dominate that league and the Celebration Bowl.
Excellent. Wow. That means a lot coming from somebody who knows the insides, from being on the inside like yourself. I just wondered, you seem to differentiate this idea of having a program, a winning program, as opposed to maybe the way I and a lot of other fans look at it. When you say a program, what is it that makes up a program, and how do you differentiate that?
Well, see, I think being fundamentally sound in your offensive and defensive setup and your kicking game, even the game I didn't get to see, the one that you went to down against South Florida, from what I understand and some of the highlights that I've seen, they played a good game. It was a very competitive game. They were in that game for the whole time, and it was tight. And we have a lot of respect for you, U.S. South Florida, I say. But I think what I'm talking about is the fact that they can line up against anybody and expect to win now. And so that doesn't mean they have to win all the time. I'm not gonna be mad at them, but now they can give the best effort. I see these guys out there swinging, giving their best shot. They're in the right place all the time. Discipline is good. We did have a little snafu there at the Celebration Bowl. One of the guys got kicked out of the game, but the bottom line is, you don't see a lot of mess ups all the time, guys going the wrong direction and that kind of thing. When you can have that kind of football team and you can do that game in and game out, That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a program. You know what to expect from your team, where you're not getting out there as a coach and being surprised at what they're doing. Man, why did they do that? That ain't what I'm coaching. But what I saw is I saw those guys doing what Coach Simmons and his staff asked them to do and doing it on a regular basis. You know, they got behind in the Celebration Bowl right there towards the end. And for what I'm talking about, I had no worries. What I had seen is Coach Simmons, every time Howard came with the hit, he had an answer to it. But whenever I say Coach Simmons had an answer, that means that he's not playing. He's out there calling plays, but those players are on the same accord with him. And so when he comes up with the answer, he's telling them what to do, and they're doing it. They're executing. And so, I mean, it just seemed to me like there was no worry, never a worry with Coach Simmons as to whether he was going to come back and score and win that ball game. That's a program.
Excellent, excellent. I get it. I get it. Yeah, a lot of coordination, a lot of discipline. And what I can also hear is that it sounds like young men are being led and in a direction of growth for themselves, and we can see that. I love it. Perfect.
Well, what happens is when you have that kind of program going on, you're talking about a football game now. Okay, that's what we're talking about. We all enjoy that. But what I like to talk about, and I know Coach Simmons does the same thing, I've heard him do it. Those guys can take the fundamentals that they learn from that game, and then they can go out and expect to be successful in life. They just apply fundamentals. They get to know what the terms are, and then they do what they've been doing all the time that they learned from Florida A&M football, and they just apply it to whatever job they have or whatever endeavor that they're trying to be successful with, and they can appreciate the idea of expecting to win, expecting to succeed, and that's what we're all about. That's what we should be all about.
No doubt. No doubt. So having brought up Coach Simmons, wow, we're going to miss him then because of all that he was bringing to Florida A&M and developing a program and successful. Now he's on to different pastures, things that are going to work out for him. I'm really happy for him and look forward to seeing what he can do in other places. And but this is a crucial moment. Then it seems like for us at FAMU. Well, what do you think? Because you just highlighted that we're in a moment where it looks like and sounds like, even to my own eyes, as more of a casual observer. I mean, I don't miss a game really in terms of, like, keeping up with the program and knowing what's going on over the past handful of years. But I'm still a casual observer. But I could see that there's some momentum that we've been gaining. Even last year, once Deion Sanders went on to University of Colorado, I thought to myself, what, FAMU is going to win that Celebration Bowl next year. There won't be much standing in the way. And
No
so,
question.
so we got a crucial moment. What do you think?
Well, what I think is, first of all, we want to celebrate Coach Simmons for what he did, and we want to wish him well in his future endeavors. I've done that on a personal level, and because I really could see exactly what he was doing, and so now I'm hoping, and I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't want to step on our athletic director, who I think is doing an awesome job. Okay, I don't want to step on her toes. I know she's got a tremendous job to do, but to me, what I would like to see is that situation that we've developed and built to continue. I think everybody would like to win, like we've been winning, and everybody was so happy and celebrating and everything. We like that. I think the best way to do that now is to continue what Coach Simmons did from a leadership point of view, and try to maintain the same fundamentals that he brought to Florida A&M by having those same guys around who were a part of his staff. And the guy who knows best is Coach Simmons. You know, he could recommend the right guys that could carry on what he's built. And I think what he has to say about it should be really, really important. But I think when you start looking around and you're trying to bring somebody else in, a lot of times now, and it's not it's not my decision. It's, I don't want to step on on our athletic director's toes, but I'm speaking as a fan and as a experienced old time coach. Is that you stick with the guy who brought you. Just you stick with the guy who brought you. And so these guys, man, I saw a lot. It wasn't just Coach Simmons. There was a lot of good coaching going on out there. There was some great defense being played out there. And I think we were top in the nation in defense. So
Wow.
a lot of good stuff. So when you're in a crisis situation, when you're losing, then you go out and you look around and you bring somebody else in that can change. But when you're winning like we're winning right now, I don't know if it's a good idea to go out looking around and bringing somebody that's might come in there and change the whole program around, because you don't know what you're gonna get at that point. Right now, I think we know what we have a chance to get. I just think it'd be smart, and this is just my opinion. I think it'd just be smart to try to stick with some of those guys, if it's feasible, the guys who brought us. And I think it's possible because I've talked with several of them, but that's just my opinion.
Sounds pretty fundamentally. I love it. It makes sense, when you really think about it and hear it expressed like that. And I got a chance to meet our athletic director last year, and I think I was with you. And she certainly does seem like, and I heard her press conference, and she seems like just a person for this moment. I like her. I like how she has presented this moment and the challenge ahead. It seems like she's got shoulders for this, and I agree with you that this is going to be a great time going forward. I have a lot of confidence in her also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say one thing, man. It's
Sure.
unique. It's unique in that it's a woman, and
Sure.
she's caught some flack, and she hadn't told me this, but I know about it. I've heard about it, and I heard Vaughn Wilson talk on it and speak on it. But I hope everybody can get past that. I love what she's doing. She's leading from the front. And I'm like you. I just think that she's doing a great job. She's dynamic, got a great personality. She's raising money for that program. And now she's got a big decision to make, and I'm certain that she's going to make the right one.
Excellent. I'm glad you thought to say that because it had gone beyond me, because it is beyond me right now about that part. She seems like a person. But speaking about winning, we saw some amazing games last Monday. And I'm not sure if we talked about that in depth, but just some tremendous games. I did win some money, by the way. I did something that I reluctantly do. Somebody offered, I think, $20 or $50 or something like that, and then two or three people jumped on, and they know that I pull for the Big Ten, and so they put me in a difficult position on that Alabama and the team up north program. And so
Yeah.
now all of a sudden I can win some money by betting on Michigan to win. Like how awkward was that? But that game was crazy. Being a Buckeye fan, now all of a sudden I'm gonna make money if Michigan wins. But tremendous games, and of course Washington and Texas. My goodness. I mean, I'm glad I watched both of those. They came down to the wire, really. I didn't even think that Washington and Texas game was going to be as much fun, but I couldn't get up and I couldn't turn it off. I couldn't go to bed once it came on. Just great competition. Did you have any surprises when you were watching those games?
Well, let me just say this. I've enjoyed watching those games as well. I do. I know a lot of the participants from a coaching's point of view, and I did. I had a difficult time pulling for Michigan too. That was tough for me, but they're just loaded. And the reason I had a difficult time is because I've been following their program, and they've cheated. That's typically what would happen over the years. We pull against Michigan, but for my own personal point of view, I would pull against Michigan unless they got in the playoff and we didn't. And then I pull for the Big Ten. That's just the way I've done it year in and year out. But this time it's been revealed that a lot of what they did, they got there the wrong way. And it made it difficult for me to pull for them. So no, I was hoping that somehow they would stumble. And but they are loaded. I mean, now the players have nothing to do with all the cheating that was going on. I think this was a coach's decision, and so that's who should pay for it. But it made it difficult for me to pull for them.
Sure, sure.
The other
Yeah.
game, you know, I didn't really have a dog in the fight. I know the coach at Texas and Mike Smith. That's his father-in-law. Mike Smith played for me, and he's the one of the big dogs here at Florida A&M. So I was kind of pulling for him from that point of view. But it was good for me just to watch the execution. And like you said, they were both great games.
Yeah. A couple of impressions from this was that we did a lot of fussing and fighting about who should be going to the college football playoffs. But looking at these games, to me, it looks like they got it right. And then the other reflection I had looking at Penix, how did he not win the Heisman Trophy? I mean that just really surprised me. What were your thoughts on those things?
My goodness, I'm totally agreeing with you. I just don't know how they could slip up like that. It just is, if you like football and you watch it from a fundamental point of view, it's got to be Penix. It's got to be Penix. But if you're looking at it like a beauty contest, then I could see how you could slip up. It's not a beauty contest, man. And that part I think they got wrong. But in terms of whether they should be there or not, I mean, this guy being left-handed might have a little something to do with it. But it almost looked a lot of times he's throwing the ball 50 yards, but it's almost like he's handing it to the receivers. He's so accurate being left-handed like that. And and then he's got some great receivers as well. So
Sure.
no, I think Penix should have won the Heisman Trophy, and but I think Washington is right where they deserve to be. It is so difficult when you say they got it right, it is so difficult to go undefeated. Just so happened, just patting ourselves on the back way back in the day in '77, we ended up being the only undefeated team in the country. There's only one, but now
Wow.
there are two of them playing against each other. So we're going to end up with one undefeated team this year. Okay.
Wow.
And so there are only two undefeated teams playing. So I think they got it right. The committee did, the selection committee. And it's going to be a great game, man. I can't wait to see it because, you talk about some powerhouses. And we talk about building programs. The portal and NIL and all of that, man, has made this thing so interesting. These guys are changing their programs in a one big swing, it seems like, and then next thing you know, they got a championship team coming in here the next year. They went out there and paid a couple guys and made a couple changes here and there, and now all of a sudden they're in the playoff. But it's about to change because now it's going to go from a 4-team championship to a 12-team. So it's going to change, but I think the idea is good. I think what they're doing is really a good thing for both players and coaches.
And that's a lot of changes that you bring up for college football. I mean, the portal itself and a player being able to leave after a season and go somewhere else and do it again if they don't feel like they have the fit, being able to get paid NIL money for name, image, and likeness. Also, some other changes. Of course, expanding from 4 teams to 12 teams. We got some conference changes going on out west, Big Ten expanding. A lot of changes. And you feel like it's okay for college football? You feel like it's a win for the sport?
I think it's a win for the sport. I'm so glad that I'm not a part of it because, man, I like to watch somebody else go through all that. I was just watching. I don't want to call any names, so I do know the name. one guy, one of the great quarterbacks that was out there, everybody was after this year. He was being courted by a lot of schools and everything. And then all of a sudden he just decided, well, I don't even want to go to you, either one of you guys. I just go pro. That.
Wow.
And how would that be, man, if you out there coaching, running back and forth after this young man, and then all of a sudden he makes a decision like that, and you spend all this time and energy and money and everything courting him. And the other part that the reason I say I'm glad I'm not a part of it is that some of these guys, they decide right down at the last minute, okay, I'm just not going to play now. But you helped them to build their image.
Right.
You got them to where they want to get to. And then all of a sudden, he's just going to tell you, oh, no, well, I'm not going to play in this game here. But then they're going to put on the jersey and everything and be out there sporting the thing like they're so proud of everything, but they're not playing. And to me, that's kind of leaving the coach high and dry. I look at, how can you be at a Florida State, go undefeated like that, and be just tearing it up, man, and then all of a sudden get beat 60-something to 3 in the final game, because so many players decide not to play. And that's the part that I if I'm a coach standing down there, I felt for the head coach just standing down. You got to take a whipping like that when you had built this team and put all that hard work in. And that's what's difficult. But as far as the rest of it and what it means to the game, the fact that you could build a championship team in such a short period of time by just trading people.
Right.
I see where Ohio State, the center that had such a hard time for Alabama, Ohio State just recruited him. He just committed to Ohio State for next year. And so
you're talking about the one who was in the game just a week ago? Not even a week now.
Yeah, the one that was in the game just against Michigan. He
6 days
snapped
ago.
the ball. He had a difficult time snapping the ball, snapping it too low and so forth. Ohio State had a problem with their center. So when they went to their bowl game, their starting center that had been starting all year, they decided to take him out of the lineup. So they had a difficult, when they put the other center in there, he didn't know the calls. It messed up the whole line. And so they just had a difficult time in their bowl game, and they didn't look good. Ended up getting beat 14-3 in a game that everybody thought they were going to win. So what they did is they decided to go get this center. He obviously is a great player. He just has that one snafu where he just got to work on snapping the ball, but he's a great blocker from what I hear. He's committed to Ohio State for next year. And so both of them solved their problems. But man, from a coaching point of view, how would you like to be in that situation where the guy that you've been going to battle with now for 3 seasons, all of a sudden he picks up and leaves?
Wow. Yeah, I heard Ryan Day.
I think you can, from Ryan Day's situation, he's going to change that program.
Sure.
This guy's going to come in there and be a starter.
Yes. Wow. Excellent. Well, between the center and a quarterback, both coming in, that's going to be a lot of significant change, and it sounds like change for the positive for the Buckeyes. We'll take it.
No question about it.
Last question I got to ask you. We got a game tomorrow night to cap off the season, the championship between Washington and Michigan. And I've heard several people's take on this. First of all, it's a little bit weird because I don't really have so much of a dog in this fight either. I like them both for different reasons. I mean, Washington with that crazy high-powered offense, and of course Penix. I love to watch him play. Looks like a field general out there. And then we got, of course, Michigan, hard-nosed, running and fundamentally sound football, like you say. And looks like they have potentially what it takes to get after the quarterback. We saw them doing that against Alabama, how they got after Milroe in ways that I didn't think they would be able to. So this is going to be a really interesting game. I have a hard time picking who I think will win and why, because they're both so powerful at what they do. I haven't really come out with a favorite or a team I think is going to win. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Excuse me, I have a lot of thoughts. And I I got to tell you that, and like I said, typically I would be pulling for Michigan. Typically,
Yeah.
I do know Coach Harbaugh's dad very well. We coached against each other when I was at Ohio State. He was at his dad was at Michigan, and when his dad and I have talked from time to time, I would be pulling for them typically, but they cheated, and he knew what he was doing, and he did it anyway. So there's no question about it. I'll be pulling for Washington. Let me get that off right off the top. And I just think that when you get out there and you decide that I've had that done to me from opposing coaches before. When I've talked to them, I knew they were cheating. I've talked to them and said, "Well, hey, this is something you deal with. If we're going to do this, is the way we run our program." So they're going to do that when they decide they're going to cheat. That's what they do. Well, I'm pulling for Washington because of that, and so that's going to be my team going in. Michigan's loaded though. I mean, it's going to be a great game. But the other thing is that I just don't. I know what's going to happen afterwards. So if Michigan wins, they're going to get hit with it. They're going to get hit with sanctions.
Okay.
And I hate to see that happen. I've seen it happen before with SMU and some of the programs that got hit with the penalties after they've had outstanding seasons. Michigan's going to
Sure.
get hit. It's already established that they've been caught. Too many things happen that they have it on record. They've already sent them the letters, and Harbaugh is trying everything he can to get out of Michigan right now to go into pro coaching. Right. So with that in mind, I'll be pulling for Washington. I just know that whoever I pull for doesn't have anything to do with it, because
Right.
whoever plays the best football is going to win it. But
No doubt.
I just can't pull for Michigan, knowing what I do know about how they got there.
Sure. Well, go Huskies then, for all the reasons above, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, this has been wonderful. I really appreciate you taking some time out here and doing it in a more organized fashion. It's a regular discussion for the two of us, but we got a chance to invite a few friends along and invite them into our space here, and I'm sure that they'll appreciate this. And so I look forward to. I wish we could sit down with some wings and watch this game like what we would usually like to do, and that would be amazing, right?
Man, I don't know if anybody would understand, but you talked on it. But let me just simply say that when we have those discussions, although you're my son, man, I enjoy those discussions like you wouldn't believe. So yeah, with a side order of wings going on at that thing, and also I want to. The audience needs to know that you had me and Pam, my wife, down for the holidays, and man, we enjoyed it like nobody's business. That was some kind of awesome for us. So hey, it's been great. Anytime you want to do it, let's do it.
All right, fabulous. Appreciate you. Love you. And we look forward to jump back on in here.
Yes,
Thank you for
sir.
joining everybody in the winner's circle. We're going to do this. I believe this is so much fun. And I can't say it's going to be this much fun all the time, but we will certainly strike at it because, it's hard to get a guest like what we got today. But we're going to try to do this weekly. New year, new things again, new beginnings. So look for us to do this weekly. Keep your eyes open and join the podcast, join the community, and see how we can learn how to keep winning together as a community, as individuals. Take care, guys.